We're talking about the latest Miami Dolphins news and rumors on today's show. And this show is thanks to our friends over at Manscaped. You go to manscaped.com and use promo code Dolphins. You're going to get 20% off plus free shipping on all their products, including their new Beard Hedger. We'll tell you more about that product later on in today's show. Dolphins fans, welcome into Dolphins Today. Here's what's coming up on today's show. Could a Christian Wilkins extension happen soon? We're going to discuss that possibility. Mike McDaniel was actually asked about that at the league meetings. And then one of the best tight ends on the market. Did he turn the Dolphins down? We will discuss that. And should the Dolphins draft a center? Could they draft a center in next month's draft? We're going to talk about one of the best centers that the draft has to offer, and he has been linked to Miami. But before we get into that, be sure to subscribe to the channel if you're a true Dolphins fan, because we bring you daily videos, and we go live every single Thursday as well. We're a year-round channel here on Dolphins Today. So subscribe to the channel if you're all about the Fins. One of the big storylines of the offseason, obviously, has been a possible Christian Wilkins extension. We've talked about it really since last offseason. They picked up the fifth-year option last offseason. I think we're all hoping for a Wilkins extension soon for a multitude of reasons. Number one, he's just a great player, great locker room presence, fan favorite. But it would also clear a lot of cap space, which is what the Dolphins need right now. Here's what Mike McDaniel told the Sun-Sentinel about that possibility at the league meetings. That's a priority of ours, and that's something that a group of people have to work together to do something that makes the most sense for the individual and the team. That process will be steadfast, but it's a priority of ours. I know Chris Greer and I know Brandon Shore are working on that, as well as Christian's representation. Mike McDaniel added that there's been, quote, constant conversations about a Christian Wilkins extension. And just based on that, it sounds like that this could get done sooner rather than later. And Wilkins had a career year this past season. And, you know, I said last offseason when they picked up the option that this was a win-win, because if you're the Dolphins, you keep Wilkins under club control for another year, but if you're Wilkins, you have another year to up your value, and that's certainly what he did, nearly 100 tackles, which is unheard of for an interior defensive lineman. 16 tackles for loss, 7 quarterback hits, 3.5 sacks, the best year of Christian Wilkins' career to date. Get this done, Chris Greer, please, because when you're talking about Wilkins, he is one of the most valuable members of this defense. Like I said, beloved in the locker room, beloved amongst the fan base, and you don't have any cap space right now. You can create some much-needed cap space putting pen to paper on a Christian Wilkins extension. Pay him what he's worth. I'm expecting a deal somewhere in the $15 to $16 million per year range, if not more than that. We'll see. His value has certainly gone up in the last year. Show some love to Wilk. Spam 94 for our guy number 94 down in the comments section. You can type it multiple times. Go down there, show some love to Christian Wilkins. Type 94 down in the comments section for our guy Christian Wilkins. Coming up next on today's show, did a free agent tight end turn down the Dolphins, and which team did he choose instead? And we'll discuss that coming up on today's show. But first, I want to tell you about our friends over at Manscaped. Y'all are probably saying, Will, your beard has looked a lot better lately. Yeah, that's because of the Manscaped Beard Hedger. Spring is sprung, and our friends at Manscaped have the best tools for some spring cleaning. They've already helped you tidy up, your body's basement, right? But this year, Manscaped can help you get the perfect presentation on that beautiful face with the new Beard Hedger Pro Kit. Make sure you look your best this spring using code Dolphins to get 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com using promo code Dolphins. It's time to tame your mane with the Beard Hedger Pro Kit. The sun is peeking back out, which means you'll have to show your face in the daylight again. So use the kit to make sure your scruff looks award-winning, whether you got glorious beard flow or some smooth, sleek cheeks. The kit's going to come with the Beard Hedger. It's also going to come with beard shampoo and conditioner. Also, some beard oil and beard balm. Love the Beard Hedger. I use it all the time. And what I really like about the Beard Hedger is it has a lot of different links for you to choose from. I remember my old beard trimmer that was obviously not Manscaped because my beard was not looking as good as it currently is. But it didn't have like any lengths to choose from. So it was either taken off way too much or not enough. This is perfect because you can kind of go back and forth here. I typically go 3.5 or 3. If you have a nice thick beard like Harrison Graham, host of Bears Now, maybe go a 10. Or if you just want a 5 o'clock shad, you can go all the way down to a 1.5 or a 1. But I love this beard hedger. You just clip it on nice and easy, very easy to use, and it's going to take great care of your beard. 20% off plus free shipping at manscaped.com using promo code Dolphins. That link and promo code in the comments and the description of today's video. I mentioned we're going to talk about Irv Smith Jr., but first, let's talk about the possibility of drafting a center because Sports Illustrated named Minnesota center John Michael Schmitz as a possible Dolphins draft target. And John Michael Schmitz is probably the best center in this draft class. So landing him would be awesome if he fell to 51, which is, of course, the Dolphins' first selection in the second round. Here is what Dante Colinelli of SI said about John Michael Schmitz in the fit. Connor Williams arguably had the best season of his career at center last year. The prospect of moving him isn't ideal, but he played left guard, one of the Dolphins' two biggest holes on the offensive line, for the first 4 seasons of his career. Additionally, Williams is scheduled to be a free agent next season. Adding John Michael Schmitz would lessen the pressure of having to bring Williams back. And I could not agree more with this. I think there's a lot of benefit to drafting a center this year. And like I said, he's the best center in this draft class, a 92.3 overall grade at Minnesota last year, 92.4 run blocking grade, and an 81 pass blocking grade. He is a fantastic talent, and the big question is he going to fall to the Dolphins? If he does, I would be very intrigued. Taking a look at some of the accolades, he was named to this past year's Senior Bowl, a 2022 first-team All-American, first-team All-Big Ten as well. 6 years at Minnesota and a 3-year starter. John Michael Schmitz would be a terrific pick if the Dolphins drafted him. Look, you could draft John Michael Schmitz, and he could be your center for the next 10 years while moving Connor Williams to left guard and worrying about that next year. And you could also fill a big hole at left guard. Left guard might be your weakest position right now. And Connor Williams, as we saw in the first 4 years of his career, played that position and played that position at a high level. Here is what the Dolphins' offensive line would look like if you moved Connor Williams to left guard and drafted John Michael Schmitz to be the center. Terron Armstead, Connor Williams, John Michael Schmitz, Robert Hunt, maybe Austin Jackson at right tackle. I still think they're going to sign a right tackle to compete with AJ. But that offensive line already looks significantly better from what you have right now. And this is no disrespect to Connor Williams. Connor Williams exceeded my expectations this past year. He proved me wrong in a lot of ways. But he's a free agent after next year. You want to have a guy that you can trust for the foreseeable future. Snapping the football to Tua Tagovailoa. You can slide Williams to left guard and worry about that position next year when Williams becomes a free agent. But you have to do everything you can to improve the offensive line right now. You'd improve the offensive line by drafting John Michael Schmitz, who is the best center in this draft class. Should Miami draft John Michael Schmitz out of Minnesota? Type D for draft or type P for pass down in the comment section. Go down and let me know. Do you want to draft John Michael Schmitz? Let's talk about Irv Smith now because he was a free agent target, someone that we talked a decent amount on the show. He says that he chose the Bengals over the Dolphins in free agency this year, turned down the opportunity to play with his former college teammate Tua Tagovailoa, those two good friends, and played together at Alabama. Here is what Irv Smith Jr. said about joining the Bengals. I felt like Cincinnati had the best chance to win a Super Bowl. Having a relationship with Jamar, getting to play with Joe Burrow and those guys speaks for itself. Great coaching staff. Zach Taylor was very adamant about me coming to the team, knowing what I can do to help the offense. And the proof is in the pudding at the tight end position. I feel like I'm almost the missing piece to get us that Super Bowl. Look, I mean, you can't fault him for choosing the Bengals. It's not like he went and chose a team, like the Colts that just have no shot to win. You can't fault him for choosing Cincinnati. Yeah, he would have had a good shot to win in Miami as well. But he says the reason he chose Cincinnati is because he felt like he had the best chance to win a Super Bowl there. You really can't fault him for that. You're talking about a team that's made 2 straight AFC championship games. But here is the Dolphins tight end depth chart right now. You still signed a tight end in free agency. That was Eric Saubert, who's a good blocking tight end. You have Durham Smythe and you have Tanner Conner. You definitely need to add to this room. I don't expect them to do that in free agency, but I certainly expect them to do it in the draft, and you absolutely need to address this position in the draft. I know you only have 4 draft picks total, but you have got to use one of those picks on a tight end. Taking a look at some possible targets here. Some of these guys might be available second round. Others might be available in the third round. Darnell Washington, probably my favorite tight end prospect that's a realistic target here for the Dolphins. Luke Musgrave, also Sam Laporta out of Iowa, Tucker Kraft, and then Luke Schoonmaker out of Michigan. I think Washington goes round 2. I think Musgrave goes. I've seen some mocks with Musgrave going round 1. But I think he falls to round 2. Laporta probably goes late round 2. Tucker Kraft and Schoonmaker in round 3. So all those guys are possible Dolphins targets. I would be absolutely thrilled with Darnell Washington. Hopefully he falls to the Dolphins at 51, or they figure out a way to trade up for him. Which tight end do you want to draft? Go down in the comments section. Let me know which tight end do you want to take in next month's NFL draft.